What's up, everybody? Your boy Pat back again with another edition of Second Take, where I talk tech and I speak sports. Today's topic of the day is Apple and Nintendo, do they take the same approach? Do Apple and Nintendo take the same approach? Are they one and the same as far as how they go to business, their market strategy, their business model? Now, I first wanted to get into Apple. So the iPhone came out about 10 years ago. And literally the design hasn't changed much. The operating system hasn't changed much. You got your home keys on the bottom. You got this big red dot of a home button on the bottom. You got a speaker on the bottom of the phone. You got a big forehead and a big chin on the phone. You got big bezels, and some have gotten a little thinner, some have gotten more of a flat surface to a curved surface. But essentially the design of the phone from a hardware and a software perspective pretty much unchanged, all the way down to the font looking exactly the same as it did 10 years ago that it does today. And a lot of people have gotten bored with the iPhone, but the funny thing about it is people still are buying up Apple products at record paces when it comes to their iPhones. Their iPads and their Macs, maybe a little bit of a different story. But when you genuinely just take a look at the Apple model, they've basically done the same thing for the last 10 years. And it's been successful. Now, there has been strains on them as a company because Android, in my opinion, has passed them up not only on the hardware side, but also on the software side. And namely, the Samsung company has, for me, hands down, triumphed over the iPhone from a software side, a hardware side, a sales side. And I think that's Apple's big problem. But kind of sticking to the point of the video, let's get into the Nintendo side of it. So Nintendo, essentially, they're a little bit different, but a little bit the same. The hardware has changed on Nintendo from a Nintendo Entertainment System all the way up to a Wii, an N64, and then their newest model, the Nintendo Switch. They have had some drastic changes in hardware, from just the design of it, the look of it, the spec upgrades. But what Nintendo does, pretty much like iPhone, is on two things I'll point out. Just two kind of avenues. One, they don't lead the spec race, which Apple does not lead the spec race, and they're quite far behind the spec race as far as graphics, resolution, refresh rates, memory, expandable storage, and the list goes on and on and on. And Nintendo's done pretty much the same thing, where they've kind of let Microsoft and Sony battle it of who's got the latest and greatest technology, who's got the best graphics, who's got the best internet. Nintendo really doesn't even have an online user base, and we're in the year 2017. So from a spec point of view, they kind of do the same thing that Apple does. From a software perspective, they do the same thing that Apple does. They have not changed the name of their game and the way they go to market and the way they go to business. In fact, they don't really need to. They literally launch every Nintendo console with either a Mario game, a Donkey Kong game, a Zelda game, a Metroid game. It's the same 4, 5, 6 franchises that they continue to just hash out games. Now, obviously, the games are different, but the thought process, or the avenue, the perspective that they take is, we're going to launch our system with these AAA titles, and you're going to eat it up and you're going to buy it all over again, even if with the likes of a Nintendo 64 and a Wii U, even if third-party support is not that good, or the games that they make are quite absurd. I mean, the Wii U had the most amount of horrible games that I've seen since the Atari 2600. That was a big licensing issue back then. That's not the issue with Nintendo. Kind of the same problem, a little different, but the amount of trash that was on the Wii U is just unheard of from a third-party developer perspective. So when you look at that, all in all, I would say Apple and Nintendo take pretty much the same avenue towards success. Now, it's worked for both of them, but obviously Nintendo has taken a huge backseat to the likes of Sony and Microsoft. Obviously, the Wii was a little bit different. They trounced, I believe, the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 3, or the PlayStation 2, no, PlayStation 3, yes, and the Xbox 360 at the time in sales, especially when the race was in the beginning. I think eventually Microsoft and Sony rebounded and actually won that war, the long haul war. But that sprint to the top, Nintendo really took it to them. But they went a whole different avenue with motion control sensors, and so good innovation by them. But with that said, I think these two companies are more alike than they are different. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Am I way out of line? Am I speaking out the side of my face with this, or am I on point? It's your boy Pat. Peace. Catch you in the next one.